What's going on, everyone? It's your friendly neighborhood gamer PTK Blam back with another video. Yes, another video that is not the shop podcast. How are you guys doing this beautiful Wednesday evening? So before we dive into the information, as you guys can see in the thumbnail, what we're talking about today, before we dive into that or jump into it, just want to say subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are on a road to 1,500 subs. I greatly appreciate all of you for following us here on the channel, following me and the shop podcast, man. But let's go ahead and dive in. I'm not going to waste too much of your time today. So as you guys can see in the thumbnail, we are talking a little bit about Xbox and E3 2021 coming up. So I wanted to break it down into a few different sections and cover a couple different things and really what I expect and why I'm excited for Xbox and really just E3 2021 overall. So just gonna touch on a few things. Once again, would like to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section. So when you're done watching the video and listening, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about what I said, some of the things I covered, you know, etc, etc. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So the first thing that I thought about when thinking about doing this video on just Xbox and E3 2021, the first word that came to my mind was investment, and that's something that I want to highlight first and foremost. So we know Xbox has taken the last 3 to 4 years to invest heavily in their ecosystem, from adding games to Game Pass on a seemingly weekly, monthly basis, to buying first party studios, getting Bethesda and that King's ransom worth of talent and just IPs at Bethesda and ZeniMax. That's all investments, and that's something that I'm really happy to see start to pay off, because obviously the new consoles came out last November. It's been a few months. We all understand generations do start slow. We haven't seen much of Xbox first party, but that was to be expected considering a lot of the games that we did see, a lot of the information that we did hear about the first party games were games that were further out. But I still would like to see some of the games that we've already known about, such as Hellblade, Hellblade 2, a couple other IPs maybe that Bethesda's working on. There's a ton of different games, maybe Fable, obviously Halo Infinite, which should be coming out this year, possibly Starfield. There's a ton of different IPs that we know about, we don't have any dates for. So that's one of the biggest things that I'm excited for, all the investments, and to see the fruit of the labor, essentially to see that tree that they've been planting and watering every single year bear fruit. And that's kind of what I want to see from Xbox, you know, first party. Essentially, I'm gonna go out on a limb. There's gonna be a heavy focus on first party for Xbox, I think, this time around. Traditionally in the past, you know, they always kind of bookend their E3 with first party content, but I think it's going to be kind of sprinkled throughout. There's so much now, more than ever, that we're going to see a ton of first party stuff, and I cannot wait to see. So the investment is kind of what I want to see, and I think what I'm expecting to see is the fruit of all of that labor pay off for Xbox, and us start to finally get a roadmap. You know, release dates for a lot of these games is going to be big as well, and actual gameplay. So that's going to be big. You know, ultimately for Xbox, they got to get out there and they got to show out. Obviously, I think it's going to be a strong show just from a content standpoint. And this year, seemingly with them having Bethesda, the show is going to be unique, in which it kind of sounds like they're going to be doing 2 shows in one, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. That's information for a whole nother video. So I just want to continue, but that's the first thing that I'm looking and I'm expecting to see from Xbox, a heavy focus on their investments, which would be Game Pass, which I didn't really touch on much, but Game Pass at this point speaks for itself. Third-party deals, you know, going third-party AAA games going to Game Pass day one. I expect more of that. I also expect a couple of left field things, but I'll dive into that towards the end of the video. But and a couple other things I wanted to talk about too are just my 3 new IPs that I'm looking forward to. There's a ton of new IPs obviously, but I picked 3 in particular that I'm extremely excited for and hope to see, and these are new IPs, not reboots like a Fable or a Perfect Dark, although I'm extremely excited to see those games as well. But I wanted to kind of focus on brand new IPs. So one, which I think this game potentially could be the best first party game on Xbox within the next 5 years. And in my opinion, it's not much of a stretch, because I think this studio has proven and they're going to continue to prove that they're one of the best studios out there at this point. And so the first game I'm alluding to is Avowed, which is made by Obsidian. I think Avowed is going to be amazing. Obviously, it's going to be a AAA level game. I don't know much about it. Obviously, we got a little bit of a teaser, but that game, just with their pedigree, they haven't missed. I look at Obsidian potentially being Xbox version of, or Xbox's Insomniac, a consistent, high quality developer that can really make any kind of game that you put in front of them. So Avowed is the first one that I'm looking at. I think that's going to be fantastic. Obviously, the other elephant in the room, we're talking a little bit of Starfield, Todd Howard's baby. So this is the game that we have absolutely know nothing about besides a couple still screenshots and a quick trailer. We don't know anything about the game. There was some information, a tweet that came out. I'll post it on the screen if I can find it, stating that the game possibly be more No Man's Sky than Star Wars. So more space exploration than actual like epic saga shooter flying around kind of stuff. So I don't know exactly what that means. I mean, No Man's Sky is a fantastic game. So space exploration is fantastic as well. But I mean, there can be all type of different things sprinkled, and obviously we don't know how reliable that source is as well. But either way, Starfield has got people on the edge of their seats. The big thing, obviously, exclusivity. Is it truly going to be exclusive to Xbox, or is it going to be multi-plat? So, and the last one here, that as far as the top three that I'm looking forward to, will be Everwild. Now, Everwild is an interesting game because we almost know less about Everwild than we do about Starfield. They're probably, yeah, I would argue we know less about that than we know about Starfield. But Rare has continued to impress me with Sea of Thieves and what they've done with that game from day one. That game is one of the biggest games being played, most consistent games played throughout all last generation into this generation, and it continues to grow. It's become a staple, as far as a game as a service and a game you can continually play. So Everwild has some interesting, the art style is beautiful, obviously. And then some of the clues, it kind of gives me Pokemon vibes, kind of Viva Pinata vibes, kind of Breath of the Wild vibes. Like, they can go so many different places with Everwild, and that interests me. So hopefully we see more about Everwild. Hopefully Rare decides to give us a little bit of gameplay, maybe another trailer to give us a little bit more insight on the story aspect of that game. So essentially that's another big one for me that I'm looking forward to as well. So before I wrap this video up, the last thing I want to talk about really is, ultimately, I know the video is titled and I talk a lot about Xbox, but we really are in the golden age of gaming, and I want to kind of wrap things up on this. And we're, as fans of gaming, are in for a real treat this E3. I know Sony's not going to be there. I don't think EA is going to be there, but either way, we're in for a real treat. We're in for a real treat. Sony's in a very good spot. The PlayStation 5 is in an extremely good spot. It's selling well. They're doing a great job. They just announced today about 25 25 IPs, unannounced games, as well as have more than half of those being new. Nintendo is just doing Nintendo things, obviously. Their games are going to continue to be great. They're also going to be at E3 this year, which is a big deal. Nintendo generally does their own thing. So at the end of the day, I think ultimately, no matter what console or PC or device you play on, there is something going to be shown for everybody. And I think we're all going to win at the end of the day. But let me know down in the comment section what you guys think of the video, what you guys think of my picks, the top three, as far as what you guys expect from Xbox specifically, as well as, if it's not Xbox, let me know as well. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you for viewing my videos. Thank you for all the likes and comments, and please subscribe. On the road to 1,500 subscribers. Tell your friends about us, man. But I appreciate the support. I'm out of here. Peace out.